Good day everyone. I am T4 Gajo and I'm going to discuss about learning targets and appropriate methods of assessment. So what is learning target? According to Macmillan 2014, learning target is a statement of student performance for a relatively restricted type of learning outcome that will be achieved in a single lesson or a few days and contains both description of what students should know, understand, and be able to do at the end of instruction and something about the criteria for judging the level of performance demonstrated. So, learning targets are short term goals or statements. Learning targets guides instruction and learning for a single classroom lesson. Learning targets should clearly state what you expect students to know and be able to do at the end of the class. In other words, learning targets are statements on what learners are supposed to learn and what they can do because of instruction. Compared with educational goals, standards, and objectives, learning targets are the most specific and lead to more specific instructional and assessment activity. Learning targets should be congruent with the standard prescribed by program or level and align with the instructional or learning objectives of a subject or course. Teachers must inform learners about the learning targets of lessons prior to classroom instruction. The learning target should be meaningful for the learners. Hence, they must be as clear and as specific as possible. It is suggested that learning targets be stated in the learner's point of view, typically using the phrase I can. For example, I can differentiate between instructional objectives and learning targets. With clear articulation of learning targets, learners will know what they are expected to learn during a lesson or set of lessons. Learning targets will also inform learners what they should be able to do or demonstrate as evidence of their learning. Thus, learning targets specify both the content and criteria of learning. Both classroom instruction and assessment should be aligned with the specified learning targets of a lesson. Many experts consider four primary types of learning targets: knowledge, reasoning, skill, and product. Table 2.4 summarizes these types of learning targets. So, in the Table 2.4, description and sample learning targets, the type of learning targets, namely knowledge targets, its description refers to functional, conceptual, and procedural information that learner must learn in a subject or content area. Example, I can explain the role of conceptual framework in a research. In learning targets on reasoning targets, the description is knowledge-based thought processes that learners must learn. It involves application of knowledge in problem solving, decision making, and other tasks that require mental skills. Example, I can justify my research problems with a theory. Skills target defines use of knowledge and or reasoning to perform or demonstrate physical skills. Sample, I can facilitate a focus group discussion with research participants. In product targets, use of knowledge, reasoning, and skills in creating a concrete or tangible product. Sample, I can write a thesis proposal. Macmillan 2014 proposed five criteria for selecting learning targets. 1. Establish the right number of learning targets. Are there too many or too few targets? 2. Establish comprehensive learning targets. Are all important types of learning included? 3. Establish learning targets that reflect school goals and 21st century skills. 2. The targets reflect school goals and 21st century knowledge, skills, and dispositions. 4. Establish learning targets that are challenging yet feasible. Will the targets challenge students to do their best work? And 5. Establish targets that are consistent with current principles of learning and motivation. Are the targets consistent with research on learning and motivation? There is a quote by W. James Propam that says, teachers who truly understand what they want their students to accomplish will almost surely be more instructionally successful than teachers whose understanding of hope for student accomplishments is murky. So, what is appropriate methods of assessment? Once learning targets are identified, appropriate assessment methods can be selected to measure student learning. The match between a learning target and the assessment method used to measure if students have met the target is very critical. Table 2.5.1 and 2.5.2 present a matrix of the different types of learning targets and sample assessment methods, and these are the following. And take note below that more checks means better matches. There are other types of assessment, and it's up to the teachers to select the method of assessment and design appropriate assessment tasks and activities to measure the identified learning targets. So there is a quote again by Robert J. Marzano, which says, students who can identify what they are learning significantly outscore those who cannot. I hope you learned something. Thank you.